Kamala has the womanish traits of being a cackling, irrational, and venomous serpent without the womanly traits of grace, generosity, and tenderness. We miss those in her. But those womanish traits are now in control of our politics.
Okay, so that's some guy on the Daily Wire. It doesn't really matter, but you can tell that he fits very well into that media infrastructure in that he deeply hates and distrusts women and is just desperate for any opportunity to attack them. And so isn't it a coincidence that we have another woman who's running for president? Oh, she's a devilish serpent and she's cackling and she's hysterical. It's so weird. It just always works out that way for the right. They like attacking women as hysterical cackling witches, and they just all happen to be that way. That's about the women. It's not that they just see every woman that way. So anyway, he's got a lot of issues clearly that he is not working through when it comes to women. But the way that he attacks Harris is truly deranged. I'm gonna return to his core thing there, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more of the video first.
I was talking last week about City Journal's Faye Heimowitz, who's a really good observer of sexual politics. And she was talking about the women who love Hamas, but also talking about the rise of women in politics in general and how it has feminized the way we do our politics. And let me just read a little bit of this. Women's strategies. She's talking about the fact that it's not that women are not competitive and aggressive. It's that because they are smaller and weaker and because their goals are different and their values are different, they have to use different methods than men use, which is usually, I grew up with three brothers. We did nothing but punch each other. My entire childhood was just people flying out through rooms and slugging people. It was like the last reel of a John Wayne movie. Women don't behave that way.
Okay, so I do buy the fact that he was apparently punched a lot growing up. I think a lot of them were to the head, and I don't think he ever recovered. First of all, yes, they're smaller and they're weaker. By the way, Simone Biles could kick his crotch through the top of his skull if she wanted to. So again, it's not that they're describing what they think women are. It's what they want women to only be, and they want the power of culture and government to make it so that they can never be anything else. But I want to return to the bigger issue. So it's not just that he refers to Trump as a quote studly guy. Because there's this weird thing on the right where you're supposed to like imply that you're like attracted to him or turned on by him. I'm not saying that they are. I'm not doing that thing that some people do. I'm just saying like there's this weird thing where you have to kind of imply that you want to cuck yourself to Donald Trump. And we see it over and over. It is super strange. I don't know why they do it. Clearly they're well paid for it, but it's super weird. Studly guy. Like, yeah, he cheats on his wives occasionally. I guess that's true. Is that a good thing, family man? But the biggest point that I want to get to is when he says she has the womanish traits, that's how you talk about women, of being a cackling, irrational, and venomous serpent. Look, Harris has not always been my candidate. I wanted Bernie in 2020 or whatever. I can criticize Harris. She's a venomous serpent. Again, when these guys talk about someone like Kamala Harris, Kamala, by the way, he likes to talk about like men and strength and all that. He's intentionally mispronouncing her name, which is just such a self-own, such a sign of weakness. I just have to do this petty little spiteful thing to show that I don't respect her. It's so utterly pathetic and it should be beneath any man. It is beneath any real man, but he persists. So anyway, cackling, irrational, venomous serpent. What about her is venomous? Is she mean? You know who he's describing there? Of a rational, venomous serpent? That's Donald Trump. He's irrational, fundamentally. It's the reason that he's trailing in this race. It's the reason that he's ended up in so much legal trouble is because he can't think, he has a broken brain. And venomous serpent, Kamala Harris could spend the rest of her life dishing out insults and she would never catch up to Donald Trump. Again, it's all projection. They desperately want her to be this thing. And so they describe what they are stuck with. The pathetic, failed man that is Donald Trump, that they have to pretend is some bastion of masculinity. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?